Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video, sponsored by the makers of Call of Dragons, we're going to talk about the latest Q&A with the developers. And if you're subscribed to the channel, you know you can jump to whichever part you'd like using the timestamps. Let's start with the first question. Will you reduce the duration of the pre-war period in Home Realms so you can enter the new season more quickly? I generally feel like being in season is way more exciting than being in Home Realm. I don't particularly want to be in Home Realm for more than like a couple weeks at most. So what do they say? Thank you for your suggestion. We're working toward reducing the duration of seasons and the pre-war waiting period. Ooh, I love the idea of reducing season duration. I've called for this many times because there's one of sort of a couple situations you can get into. One is, hooray, we won, now we're bored. Okay? And I don't think it's particularly rewarding to go stomp into somebody's starting zone. Like, look, at the end of the day, like, we took the dragon, the season's over, get me in the next season, is my perspective on this one. I know other people like to sort of rub in the feel bad and invade the starting zones, and. It's just not me. So the waiting time for the migration and matchmaking windows during the pre-war period will be reduced. In Season of Strife, scenario registration will be open at fixed intervals to increase the pace of registration and season openings. At the same time, we'll make sure there are more activities available during the pre-war period. At the end of the day, my perspective on this one is there's no volume of activities that will offset the value of KVK seasons, right? And the sort of enjoyment of that. So yeah, I mean, my perspective on this one is, again, that just get us into seasons faster. We hope you'll enjoy the new faster pace of seasons. We'll inform you as soon as possible once the changes are complete. Thank you for your patience. Cool. The cost of migration is too high. Will you shorten the migration cooldown or add more ways of obtaining migration permits? You know, it's funny. I keep talking about this in both Rise of Kingdoms and Call of Dragons videos. Rise of Kingdoms, by the way, for those who don't know, made by the same people who make this game. And the thing I keep saying is, you don't want people to just abandon your kingdom when you're in the middle of a season. I think that is the actual shittiest thing a player can do. So you don't want like there to be an easy way for people to bail on you mid-season, but you do want there to be mobility so people can play the game with the people they want to play with. So right now, in a lot of ways, sort of the migration cost is a factor that keeps people where they are. But let's see what they say here. Migration permits are a common topic of conversation in the community, and we will reduce the cost of migration and allow players to find servers that are a better fit for their personal development. That sounds like a win. We'll be making the following changes to migration in future versions. Reduce the cost of migration permits. They are 400,000. They'll be 300,000. I think that's great. We're adding more ways to obtain migration permits. Once the changes come online, players will be able to buy migration permits from the Alliance store at a cost of 1,000 gems each. This also is a very good change. I know it's like you're still paying gems, but like the ability to pay gems is really good. Please note that the number of migration permits you can buy from the Alliance store will not change. Spending either Alliance permits or gems counts towards the same purchase limit. I think this is good. When I originally read this, I thought they were saying you could just buy permits for gems, but it's still the same store where you're buying them. It's still a good change. Reducing the migration cooldown. The migration cooldown period will be reduced from 90 days to 60 days. I feel like in Rise of Kingdoms, it's only 30 days. So that's kind of interesting. Please note that these changes will be applied for the first for players who migrate after the update. If you migrate before the changes are made, your migration cooldown will be reduced by 30 days once the update comes online. Oh, that's cool. So if you had 89 days, it will be 59 days. It makes sense that the migration cooldown is the duration of a season. But also, like, you can spend that entire season in Home Kingdom if you want to just be a non-participant in the season and you're like, I'm leaving anyways. So I think overall this is positive, and I'm presenting a different set of problems than what they're solving. I think this is good. I think this is a great change. Will you increase the levels and or quantity of resource points in Home Realms? Let me tell you, in Rise of Kingdoms, we've steadily gotten larger and larger resource nodes and better resource, maybe not quantity, but certainly the size of those nodes. So we understand that players want to use the period between seasons to recuperate. To this end, we'll be making resource gathering more efficient upon returning to your home realm, allowing you to quickly restore your forces. Huge, right? Like, just get us into seasons faster is my perspective. In the 1.0.33 update, we'll be increasing the levels of resource points, mobs, and Darkling Forts in the home realm for servers who've entered Season 2 and beyond. After the change, their levels will only be slightly lower than those in the current KVK season in order to make your periods of preparation more enjoyable. This adjustment to levels will happen each time a new KVK season begins. When the feature becomes available, all home realms will see an increase in the levels of their resource points, mobs, and Darkling Forts, depending on which season they're in. We hope this will allow you to recuperate and build your forces to charge into the fray once more in a new season. Fantastic. I love this change. Very good. Players who've maxed out their building levels have no use for building speed up items. Can you remove them from chests and rewards? So what's being asked here is they're saying, please create an overflow progression system for building speed ups. I would say the same is really true for research speedups, actually, so they should have mentioned that. But we're currently working on a feature that will allow players to convert surplus building speedups into other types of speedup items. This feature will be added as a part of the 1.0.34 update. Thank you for your patience. We have this in Rise of Kingdoms. In my estimation, the problem is not as bad in this game as it is in Rise of Kingdoms because we get universal speedups from the wheel and training speedups, whereas in Rise of Kingdoms, you get building speeds and research speeds, which you don't need anymore in the end game. So the wheel is already like way better here than it is in Rock, but Rock has something where you can basically, at the start of a new season, exchange 200 of each type of building speed. I think it's building speed. It might be research speeds, but it's like 200 of certain types of speeds. I think it is building speeds actually, into training speeds. So, you know, it's not a ton, but it's way better than nothing. Currently, at the end of the season, you'll have to manually remove low player. Oh, this is good. You have to manually remove low activity players who haven't migrated. Will you add a feature to allow us to banish these players en masse? So this is also a question that's not asked as well as it could be asked. The real question is, hey, we're queuing for a new season and our dead weight shouldn't count against us. Today it does. Help. That's really what they're trying to say. Thank you for your suggestion. Taking into account the experiences of players who have been banished, we decided not to allow High Kings to banish players en masse. Yeah, asking about banishment is really a waste of the developer's time and a waste of a question, respectfully. They didn't ask the question, they asked the solution. See what I mean? Instead, we will develop a leave ticket feature. The High King will be able to issue leave tickets to players. Players who accept leave tickets will not count towards their server's power during the next season's matchmaking phase. This only sort of solves the problem, but not completely. We will receive additional discounts when migrating. Oh, that's cool. This feature is currently planned to be added as part of 1.0.34. If there are any changes to the plans, we'll let you know as soon as possible. Yeah, I mean, I constantly find myself talking about product management, which is a job I used to do. I used to work in tech. And before that, well, anyways. All that to say, the problem we are solving is that Kings of Kingdoms want to have true punching power represented when they queue for KVK. Failing that, you must zero all your dead weight or accounts that people no longer have access to, which is like what I'm doing over here. It sucks to lose troops, but like you have to zero your dead weight, so it is what it is. So the point that I'm trying to make is if all cities in your kingdom count toward your matchmaking, then you must zero that dead weight or have it held against you. And people who are not leaving fast enough are counted against you. So the leave ticket system is a solution. It is not a complete solution, but it's definitely a solution. Assigning titles is often tiring and repetitive. Will you be streamlining the process? So they've answered this in the past, and they're making an automated bot. Players who want to maximize the benefit for everyone of their realm often find themselves repeatedly assigning and reassigning titles. Yeah, I mean, this is like standard operating procedure of a competent kingdom is a title distribution system. We agree that this process is currently somewhat cumbersome. It is obviously like someone has to sit there looking at a chat. Like that is around the clock, 24/7. Do you know how many human hours have been spent on this activity? We've already finished the designs for a new title allocation system, which will be added as a part of version 1.0.34. Cool. Like I said, I think the cleanest, easiest solution would be to remove the title system entirely for those specific buffs of like training speed, building speed, research speed, and just make those passive buffs that everybody gets all the time, and then you don't have a problem. Titan's Legacy rewards aren't impressive, particularly at level 80. Will you be increasing them? We've taken on board your feedback regarding Titan's Legacy and we'll be improving the rewards offered in the next update. Cool. Particularly at level 80, stay tuned. The Alliance member points is too low, the limit. Will you increase it? There's currently no limit on Alliance member points. What are Alliance member points? Am I crazy? From discussions, we understand that players would like to gain more member points. Oh, okay. From your daily construction efforts. So this is your Alliance currency that you get when you do stuff for your Alliance. However, having considered game balance and the player experience, we do not plan to remove the cap for member points gained through construction at this time. However, we are planning to make it possible to obtain member points by helping Alliance in other ways, such as removing enemy buildings. That's a neat idea. We'll continue to look at the issue of member points and we'll consider increasing the total number of member points available daily if in-game circumstances call for it. I actually think that would be a very, very, very elegant solution, that removal of enemy structures would count towards your member points for your Alliance. And the reason I like that is that there's not a lot of incentive to do that activity other than like, I'd like to win, obviously. So I think that is kind of an interesting idea. Will you add war pets that can increase gathering efficiency and capacity? We have plans for war pets that can provide buffs to gathering, but we still need a little more time before we can introduce them. We thank you for your patience while we finish and test the designs. Cool. I mean, I think this is a cool idea. Like, yes, you just finished saying how we need to recuperate. War pets that we can gather with seems like an obvious addition that also helps us recuperate faster. It's like a thing to collect, a way people will probably spend money in the game, potentially, okay? And also helps us recover. Seems like it just like wins all the way around. Will you add a control scheme that allows us to march or attack by tapping a location on the screen? Did a player really ask that? I'm only half joking. Players ask the funniest things. We're aware that many players who play on both PC and mobile prefer the PC version's control scheme, would like to see elements of that control scheme ported to mobile. Oh, thank you for explaining this question. Okay. We're currently developing this feature and plan to introduce it as part of 1.0.34. So in Rise of Kingdoms, they recently added some really nice mobile controls that make it much closer to PC. That's what they're doing here. So that's really awesome. Will you be making more improvements to Roots of War, such as to map design, march speed, war pet gameplay, and frequency of availability? We've received a lot of feedback regarding Roots of War. Unfortunately, due to space issues, we can't address every single piece of feedback we received here, right? So this mail's getting too long. We'll be issuing a comprehensive, systematic in-game survey regarding Roots of War. Oh, so fill out the survey when that shows up in your inbox, chat. That's what you got to do. Once we gathered a suitable amount of player opinions on the subject, we'll let you know our plans for the ongoing improvement of Roots of War. Cool. This seems like a good Q&A. I'm happy with what's in here. New pets confirmed, new gathering war pets, kind of cool. Migration cost going down. And importantly, some ways to sort of address people who want to migrate but can't yet for who knows what kinds of reasons. Maybe they just can't afford the passports. So if you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, consider subscribing. We're going to be queuing for a new season very soon. I'll be making a video about that very soon. Dragonfall. I have a lot of strong feelings about this, and I'm very happy with what I have seen so far. But once this matchmaking window sort of opens, the reg window opens, maybe we'll have some more stuff to talk about here. All right? You enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, subscribe. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Take care, everybody.